Hello everyone, Primer here and welcome to another Armored Warfare vehicle review. Today we will be taking a look at the Type 90, the new Japanese Tier 7 premium main battle tank that just got released to Armored Warfare. I will be telling you everything you need to learn about it so you can decide for yourself if it's something worth picking up. First, I will be comparing the Type 90 to all of the other Tier 7 main battle tanks that currently exist in the game and see how it stacks against them. I tried to keep everything leveled, so this comparison is as fair as possible to all of the tanks in it. Alright, so I will be comparing the Type 90 stats to the average values of a Tier 7 MBT, but I will also list the stats for all of the other Tier 7 MBTs in case someone is interested in a more specific comparison. So the alpha damage on the Type 90 is a little bit on the low side compared to the average value of a Tier 7 MBT, which is 585. And the 3600 damage per minute is also below the average. 8.5 seconds reload time is not the worst, but also not the best, so it's not the greatest at Tier 7. Moving on to defense, the Type 90 has 3,350 hit points. This beats every single Tier 7 MBT outside from the Challenger and the Merkava 2D. We are not going to consider these numbers right here because they are somewhat meaningless, and we will be taking a closer look at the armor and the armor inspector. So we're gonna skip ahead to the mobility, which looks great. 70 km per hour is definitely above the average of a Tier 7 MBT. 0 to 32 km per hour, 4.33 seconds, which is great. Vehicle mass is below average, but not that it matters. And the hull traverse is above average, but not the best. Now looking back at the acceleration number here, it's 4.33 seconds, looks amazing, especially when you compare it to the T-80U, a tank that is very well known for its mobility. However, there's a little bit of a twist right here. The Type 90 gets a diesel engine compared to the gas turbine that the T-80U gets. Now if you don't know the difference between these two, it's actually a major one. Gas turbine engines will accelerate slower in low revs than diesel engines, but will accelerate faster at high revs. And this is a drag race between a Type 90 and a T-80U to demonstrate my point. At the start of the race, the Type 90 pulls ahead, but then it's just a matter of time until the T-80U catches up to it and overtakes it. So the T-80U will reach its top speed faster than the Type 90, but the Type 90 will accelerate a lot faster in the low range than the T-80U. So it's a little something to keep in mind. Moving on to the utility, the camouflage factor is below average, but not that it matters. However, the view range is above average by 15 meters, which is really nice. And for the targeting, which is where the Type 90 shines, the gun depression is really great, but this is not the full story. The number here does not consider the hydropneumatic suspension that the tank has, which is a very unique feature for the Type 90. And it will add around 4 degrees to this number right here, making the total gun depression of the Type 90 around 16 degrees, which is crazy. This is by far the most gun depression you can find on an MBT at any tier in Armored Warfare. And it will allow the Type 90 to work areas that no other vehicle can take advantage of. Now for the accuracy, it's definitely better than the average Tier 7 accuracy, so is the aim time, but not the turret traverse. Now looking at the armor of the Type 90, it's well-rounded armor with a little bit of a cage at the back of the turret, so consider that when you're firing heat or HE gems at it. And it does have a little bit of a spaced armor over the tracks and the side of the hull, but it's not that impressive. As for the armor itself, we will be comparing it to the gun of the Object 187 with its 660mm of penetration. So from the front, the lower plate looks a little bit on the yellow side, 648 to 720, and the very bottom of the lower plate is actually at a better angle. The turret ring looks not so bad, it's very hard to snipe, but once you start angling downward, the driver hatch becomes a weak spot, so keep that in mind. The turret is very strong and it will only get better with the gun depression. The side armor is very soft. You could try and angle the tank a little bit by a couple of degrees, but overdoing it will expose your engine deck, which is an easy pen for most tier 7s. But that's enough theory crafting. Let's see how this vehicle performs on the battlefield. However, before we jump into that replay, I'll be showing you a small clip from a different replay highlighting one of the positions that only the Type 90 can utilize, thanks to its gun depression and hydropneumatic suspension. Here I am on Salzburg, and this is one of the positions that I was able to work using the gun depression of the Type 90, and I was able to do over 10,000 damage from this position alone. Unfortunately, the team collapsed too quickly and this battle ended in a loss. But it's one of these strong positions for the Type 90 when you get on this map. Alright, now let's go watch the main replay. Here we are on Coastal Threat and I am in a platoon with Flavio and Caden. We are top tier, so we can afford to be a little bit on the aggressive side. Anytime I'm playing in the Type 90, I'm always thinking to myself, where can I take this tank? Where can I use that gun depression? Because that gun depression is the main highlight of this tank. And being able to get into positions where the enemy team does not expect you to be in can be the difference between winning or losing the battle. So I'm heading with Caden and trying to push the A line. I stopped to assess the situation on the H line. I'm thinking about going back and try to assist on that flank, but then we spot a Merkava Mark II-D, so I decide to help Caden with that Merkava. However, that Merkava is not alone. He did bring in some friends in the form of an NM142, which is gonna be really annoying, and a Leopard 2AV. I'm trying to keep that Merkava immobilized so we can keep him focused, but that 142 comes around and decided to shoot me, doing 1,000 damage to us.
Hostile tank. Ammo up.
Now that the Merkava is dead and the team is collapsing on the A-line, we decided to push this flank. I'm trying to wiggle here to bounce a shot and it does work. We take out the Leopard and then we're gonna be pushing on the 9910. I try to aim for his tracks to immobilize him and the shot connects. Now I'm trying to block his shot so he doesn't shoot my teammate and we managed to kill him. Now here I'm thinking to myself, do I want to go back to the 8 line? Do I want to go into the cap? Do I want to keep pushing the 0 line? But then I decided that the best course of action is to go back and try to set up an ambush to hopefully pick up some free damage on the enemy tanks that are gonna be pushing up here. Going over that ridge, I did get spotted, it just did not show it in the replay, so I decided to pull back and try to get into a better position. And here we meet our opposite number, another Type 90. And I'm trying to keep this straight positive, but then I spot that warrior that has been shooting missiles on me, so I decided to shoot him instead. The Type comes in around and bounces the shot on our front, and we try to track him. The shot connects. Oops. And now here I'm trying to aim for the ammo rack. Thankfully Flavio is here and we both are working on that Type to try and take him down. The Merkava decided to come and join the fight. I spot that warrior on the flank and now I'm telling Flavio that we need to push that Merkava so we don't take a lot of damage from that warrior. I'm trying to get to the front so I can start blocking shots, but unfortunately I take a shot from our friendly T-80U. The Merkava is now dead and our focus gets shifted to that isolated warrior. I do a little bit of a misplay, forgetting my tank in the lowered position, which reduces my mobility. I didn't realize it at the time, but it shouldn't cause a lot of issues to us. Now the reason you may want to lower the Type 90 is to increase the angle on the lower plate, giving you more of a chance to bounce shots that are aimed at it.
Hostile PC.
The warrior goes down and our flank is clear, so now we're going to be looking at something else to shoot at. Now this is a little bit of a misplay. I thought I will have a shot on that Merkava coming around that corner, but obviously that wasn't the case. And now there's a Type 90 behind Flavio, putting him in a crossfire between that Type and the Merkava. And here I made a really bad misplay, coming sideways to that Type 90, trying to shoot him, misjudging his reload, and taking a hit for free. At this point I'm trying to pull back to a position where I can have more of an advantage to try and fight off the Merkava and the Type 90. Luckily I managed to land a shot on that Merkava as he was chasing me. Now it's time to move and I'm trying to get up higher so I have more of an advantage if that Merkava decided to chase me. But I realized that I will not make it all the way to the top, so I decided that I will use this rock to hopefully be able to take out that Merkava.
No effect. Extract us. They hear a gun. Shots prepared. Guns
That
prepared.
Merkava bounces all of his shots on my tank, and I managed to connect one at his. Now I'm thinking to myself, should I pull back? Should I stay here? Probably get a shot on that Type. And yes, we managed to get a shot on that Type. Now here, I know I was doomed and I was trying to hold on as long as I can, hoping that BMD comes in and flank these guys. Unfortunately, the BMD decided to take the long way around, which was a misplay on his part, and now he is on his own. From this point on, this BMD will go on to kill the Type, and the Merkava will sit on the cap to try and capture it, forcing the BMD to come to him. The BMD will look for a shot, but it was very obvious where that shot is coming from. And he will go down to that Merkava. Overall, it was a really good game for the Type 90, showcasing its capabilities, and maybe if I didn't lose some of my HP to that friendly T-80U, I would have been able to carry that game. However, that wasn't the case, and the game ended in a loss. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments what you think about the Type 90, and if you are going to be picking one up. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you on the next one.